Blake Baumann here, and I'm one of the world's foremost independence coaches that specializes in working with teens and young adults with autism and ADHD. And in today's video, I want to talk to you about if your young adult avoids school, work, chores, driving, calling people back, anything that looks like adulting, this video is going to change how you see it. Because what looks like laziness or lack of motivation or disinterest is usually one of three very specific types of avoidance, and each one needs a different response. So you use the wrong response and you get shutdowns, you get fights, or you get total regression. So parents, if you're constantly thinking, why won't they just do this? You're not alone. Most parents, you're trying harder, you're pushing more, you're reminding more, and it's just not working. And that's because avoidance isn't one problem. It's actually three different types of problems wearing the same outfit. So here are the three types of avoidance that we're going to talk about: anxiety avoidance, overwhelm avoidance, and identity avoidance. And I'm going to show you how to spot which one it is in real time, what not to do, and then just some simple tips, strategies, and phrases that actually can help. So the first type of avoidance is anxiety avoidance. This is the type where your kid wants to have a life, but fear runs the show. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of rejection, fear of looking stupid, fear of disappointing you. And how it sounds sometimes coming out of their mouths are, what's the point? I'm not doing that. I'll mess that up. They wouldn't hire me anyway. I don't know. And so how it can look and show up in their life is one of the ways is through procrastination. Another is through the tomorrow promises, like tomorrow I'll get it done. I'll make the phone call. I'll, apply to the jobs. Avoiding the phone calls or avoiding interviews or having anger outbursts, meltdowns or shutdowns right before any action is required. So let's talk about first what not to do. We don't want to lecture about consequences. We don't want to pressure them like you have to do this. And we don't want to give long explanations as it just increases the threat they're already feeling. What we should do is this three-step response. Number one, regulate. What we want to do is regulation starts lowering the threat. And parents, this begins with you. We want you to breathe. We want to calm yourself. We want you to be willing to step away and come back if you're not regulated or if your young adult's not regulated. Step two is to shrink the task to tiny steps, which reduces the failure risk that they're currently feeling. And then step three, provide safety by giving them tiny exposure steps that they can repeat, where they can build confidence and feel safe. And when we want to talk to them, a simple script we can use is we can say, I can tell you're thinking about a bad outcome. I know it's scary. That makes sense. So let's make this so small you can't fail. We're not deciding your whole future today. We're just going to focus on the next 2 minutes. A script that simple is something that helps them to absorb what you're saying. And here are some examples of some micro actions that you can use to shrink those tasks. So number one, if let's say they're applying for jobs, don't tell them apply for jobs, but do ask them to open one job listing and read the first paragraph. Or if they have to make appointments, let's just say they have to make a dentist appointment. Don't tell them just to call the dentist. Do ask them to outline a script for that call. And if they have any kind of school assignment that they have to finish, don't tell them like you got to write that paper, but do ask them to open the tab on their screen and just title the document. See, please know that anxiety avoidance needs safety first, then micro wins, not more pressure. So the second type of avoidance we're going to talk about is overwhelm avoidance. And overwhelm avoidance is too many steps, too much input, and no clear start. It's not fear of failure. This is where their system is just overloaded. And executive functioning gets tapped out and they can't sequence tasks, prioritize, or decide where to even start. Their brain just screams out too much, then it shuts down. So how this can sound coming out of their mouth, so you can look for the key words, is things like, I can't do this. It's too much. I don't even know where to start. Stop talking, right? And so we want to listen to those context clues. And how it shows up in their life is they may be just staring at a wall. They may start sleeping later. They may avoid transitions. They may keep a messier room. They may miss even more deadlines. And you might get meltdowns after simple requests. So let's talk about what not to do first. Adding more words, meaning no more expanded explanations or lectures, as this will just even more overwhelm them. Giving them multiple choices, meaning more than two choices, because what that will do is that will just giving them analysis paralysis, and telling them to just make a list, as just making a checklist can overwhelm them too. So I have a quick method that you can do. It's the 4S method. And the first S is just a single step. Just focus on one step. The second S is short time. This is where we keep the action or step to something that can be done ideally in 2 minutes, but no longer than 10 minutes. Then the third S is simplify the environment, meaning remove distractions, help remove clutter. And then the fourth S is a stop point. Ensure that there is a clear finish line. And so I'm going to give you just a simple script to use. We're doing one step, and then we're going to stop. Do you want to do step A or do you want to do step B? And once they choose, let's set a timer for 2 minutes, then we're done. And so I'm going to give you some examples. Say they need to clean the room. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to break it down into the action is for the next 3 minutes, we're picking up the trash in the room. Or let's go back to the school assignment. And the action is we're just going to open up Canvas and read the instructions, nothing else. Or applying to a job. The action is let's just open up the electronic application, then we're going to stop. And the key insight here with overwhelm avoidance is that it needs structure, it needs sequencing, and we need to lower the sensory load. No motivation speeches, no lectures, and no carrot or stick approaches are needed. Okay, so the third and final avoidance we're going to talk about today is identity avoidance. And this is the deepest one. See, this is where they avoid action because action threatens their identity. See, the greatest need in the human psyche is the need to stay consistent with who we believe we are. And this shows up typically in two ways. The first way is if they try and fail, they might discover that they're not good enough, which threatens their identity, so they're just going to avoid. The second way it shows up is if they don't believe they're capable, that they won't even take the action. See, their brain is trying to protect itself with avoidance. And how it sounds, hearing your kids say things like is, that's stupid. I don't care. I'm fine. Whatever. And these are things that come out of their mouths. And what that often means, because these are all codes, it means I'm protecting myself from shame, or I already feel behind, or I don't know who I would be if I'm not labeled smart or the gifted one. So I don't want to lose that label, so I'm not even going to try. Or I don't believe I have the capability. And so what we want to do is we don't want to tell them these things. We don't want to tell them you're wasting your potential. You're capable, so just do it. Or worse yet, we don't want to begin comparing them to siblings, to cousins, to friends, or other peers. So what you'll want to do is to focus on rebuilding their identity in 3 moves. And so the first move is to separate them from the outcome. See, many kids, when they try and they don't succeed, they'll say things like, I'm a lost hope. I knew I couldn't do it. And what we got to do is we got to help them see that they're not their outcome. Help them see that it's an action, like they just took the wrong action. Number 2 is we want to make action and effort the win. Again, let them see that success is by just them trying. And then number 3 is we want to help them create a new identity statement. So here are some examples. You're not your results. You're a person building skills right now. Think of this as we're a person practicing, not proving anything. Or we're going to measure success by showing up for 10 minutes. Also, the key here is to help them turn identity statements into affirmations that they can say, like I'm the kind of person who takes small steps, or I build confidence by doing the reps and taking action, or I don't need to be perfect to begin. And so, those simple affirmations and identity statements can be incredibly powerful at helping our kids take the next step, which is sometimes just like that first domino that falls, causing a chain reaction of all those other dominoes falling. And so you might be asking yourself, okay, Blake, you've given me these three avoidances. How do I know which one they're experiencing? So I'm just going to give you an oversimplified checklist for which type it is. Simply ask yourself these three questions. Question one, do they fear a bad outcome? If that's the case, most likely it could be anxiety avoidance. Question two, do they freeze at the starting line, or do they constantly procrastinate? That could be the overwhelm avoidance. And then the third question is, do they act dismissive? Do they get defensive, or do they get distracted to try to protect their pride? Or do you hear them say things like, I'm not good enough? If so, that's the identity avoidance. And if you want help identifying which avoidance is happening in your home and building any kind of step-by-step plan, click the link that's near this video. My team and I use my ideal launch system, which is our trademark coaching process to turn stuck kids into forward momentum movers without constant battles. And we've done this for families just like yours. Now, if this has helped in any way, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share. Look forward to helping you get your kids going from stuck to moving forward and living a successful and independent life.